Captain's Pick, the FPL Podcast.
Hello and welcome on board flight episode 22 of Captain's Pick, the FPL Podcast. This is your captain and host speaking, Geoff Willis, and each week I'll be taking flight to talk fantasy Premier League football. You can find the show on a whole host of podcast services, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and a whole lot more. Just search Captain's Pick. I hope you had a lovely Christmas and a new year and are all ready to go with FPL in 2019. On today's show, I'll give a quick review of game weeks 18, 19, 20 and 21, talk transfers and my captain's pick, and I'll finish off with a quick preview of game week 22. But first, I just want to give a quick shout out to the half-season Community League, which started in game week 20. Thanks so much for everyone who's entered so far. We've got 81 people in the league so far, so that's really good. Thanks so much for everyone for signing up to the league, which of course started game week 20 in terms of scoring. Just want to give a quick shout out to the top 10 players, managers in the league. In at 10 is a friend of the show, John Beach. In 9 is Vishnu Khanna. 8 is Andre Arianga. 7 is Shanajan Jigathasiwan. 6 is Piyush Sharma. 5 is Divine Shikari. In 4th is Ryan Lee. And then the top 3, in 3rd place is Amika Chidi. In at 2 is Diva Gus. And in at number 1 is Edric Lusungu with a total score of 152. Again, just scoring from game week 20. Edric had a game week score of 74, played their wild card. So it'll be interesting to see how that team goes on from here. But so far, pretty tight in that top 10. There's only about 20 points covering the top 10. I'm down in 65th place, so not had the best of Christmases, which we'll get into. But I'm on 90 points. It's about 60 points from me and the top. Plenty of game weeks to go. And that's looking really competitive, so really happy with how that league's shaping up. Also wanted to give a shout out to everyone who's donated to the charity page. Again, the half-season Community League was set up to try and raise awareness and some money for Cancer Research UK. So I just want to give a shout out to Rob, Mark, Stephen, Ryan, Stu, Les and Jackie, Digby and Anir for their donations. Thank you so much. It's really, really amazing of you. And we've raised £235 so far, so really happy with that. And remember, if you do want to donate, if you've entered the league, then just go over to my Just Giving page. All the links to that page are in my Twitter bio and also in the links in this podcast. And if you haven't joined the league yet, feel free to join. Again, scoring starts from game week 20. Those points should get added or will get added from your game week 20, 21. Scores will be added to your total, so don't worry. The league code is 10100-1308938. Again, the league code will be in my Twitter bio and it will be in the description to this podcast. So that's the half-season Community League. And then I just want to go through all the game weeks where I didn't, over Christmas and New Year's, just couldn't manage to get any podcasts out. The games were coming thick and fast, and every time I went to podcast, literally there'd be a game that evening or the next morning. So information was just going out of date so quickly. So, apologies for that, but back on it for the new year, and definitely be getting out a podcast every week from now to the end of the season. So, in terms of my Christmas and New Year's, not the best, could have been a lot better. And so, game week 18, I scored 55 points, had returns from Kane and Aubameyang. I'd brought in Sterling and captain Sterling, but unfortunately he blanked against Crystal Palace, City losing that game, so that was unfortunate, especially when I had Kane on 15 points and Aubameyang on 13. So definitely missed captaincy points there, but still got a fair few points, so wasn't too bad. Game week rank of nearly 3 million in that week, so not the best, but again, could have been worse, could have been better, could have been a whole lot better if I'd hit that captaincy pick. In game week 19, had a really good game week, my best over this period, 73 points. Managed to hit my captaincy pick with Kane. He only got the goal, but it meant I got 12 points from him. Aubameyang got 8 points, so could have got a few extra points if I'd captained him. But the main two really were Digne, who got a double, got a brace, so he got 17 points. And also Felipe Anderson getting a double, so he got 15 points. So an excellent game week there for me. But unfortunately, the next couple of game weeks really did sort of push me down the overall rank. So game week 20, I scored just 48 points. In this one, I took a -4 as well, so I'd saved the transfer from the week previous, made 3 transfers, and took out Aubameyang for Salah, which worked out because Salah scored in that Liverpool-Arsenal game. Aubameyang didn't, so that worked out nicely. Kane again got a goal, so captained him, so got points from him. Sterling got an assist, but that was about it. So probably wouldn't have captained Salah in that game, so probably the right decision there, captaining Kane. So happy with that, but apart from that, not many points came in, and obviously I took that -4, which I brought in Camera, cheap striker up front, and nearly an amazing move because Fulham had got a penalty in that match, and of course he missed, so he ended up getting a -1. I also had brought in Danny Ings, who had got injured as well. So wasn't the best of game weeks. And then game week 21, again 42 points, way below the average. Getting returns from Kane, but I didn't captain him. The one transfer I made was bringing in Hazard for Sterling, captaining Hazard, and of course he did absolutely nothing. Yeah, that's just Hazard, isn't it? Especially with me this season. I got a feeling I'll probably just keep him for the rest of the season now. He's so up and down, you never quite know what he's going to do, but on average, spread over the rest of the season, he'll probably be right up there for points. So I think it's just one you have to just stick with, and probably don't trust him with the captaincy, which is an expensive player to have in your team without the captaincy, but he will get major hauls every 3 or 4 weeks. You just won't be able to predict in those games, so that's why I'd keep the captaincy away from him. Also in that match, I'd started to start Ings, who again picked up an injury, came off at half time, I think. Probably picked up a bit of that injury the week before, started again. And obviously benched Camera, and who missed the penalty the week before, and Camera got the goal. And he was my first sub, and all my players played. So missed out on that 5 points. Missed out on the Kane captaincy. That would have given me an extra 12 points, which would have been nice and got me a bit close. Well, nearly would have been a game week on the game week average points there, but as it was, 12 points under the game week average. So that was disappointing. And Aubameyang called, which I'd got rid of him a couple of weeks before. Well, that's fine. I say, can't have everyone. Really happy, though, with Kane, Salah and Hazard as my big premium assets going forward. Obviously, I didn't have any Man United coverage over the Christmas New Year's period, which really killed me. It was Jose leaving. Up until then, I was quite happy having no United players, and it was serving me really well. Of course, he left, and Man United just weren't in any of my plans at all, so I decided to be patient. And of course, Pogba went on that run, absolutely smashed it. Rashford's been doing great, so they've started to come into my plans now for the next few weeks, which I'll discuss a little bit later on. But that's definitely hurt my overall rank. So in terms of my overall rank, going back from game week 17, the last pod I did, I was 86,000. So really happy being inside that target of 100k. But then dropped down to 90k after game week 18. Game week 19 just went up a little bit to 89k with that 73 points. But then the last two game weeks has been pretty disastrous. The 48 points and the 42 points dropped me to 115,000. And then now to my current position of 167,000 overall rank. So quite a bit of work to get back into that top 100k. I'm sure it's definitely doable. And my team definitely is set up for better fixtures going into January and February. Few little decisions I do need to make. But I'm pretty happy with my squad so far. Just need to tinker a little bit here and there. And so I'll go into that in a bit. So my squad as it is for this game week 22, is this Saturday at 11:30 is the deadline. I'll remind you again at the end of the podcast. So I have Fabianski in goal, Arsenal home. Not expecting a clean sheet here, but knowing Fabianski will get some decent save points, maybe even a penalty save. You never know with him. Robertson, ever dependable. Liverpool got Brighton away. In normal circumstances, I'd be looking for a clean sheet here, but Liverpool at the back have had some injuries, so they may be playing Fabinho at centre back. So could be some defensive issues there, but he's been so consistent getting clean sheets, and he may even offer some attacking points in that game. Alonso, who did well in the last game week for me, got a clean sheet and bonus points. At home to Newcastle, can see the same thing. Just hoping for attacking return. I think he hit the post and bar a few times over the Christmas period, so it was unlucky to not get more points from him, but looking for good big points, a big haul from him against Newcastle. I'll be starting Doherty away to Man City. I see so many managers benching Doherty so many weeks, and where he just punishes them and gets points. Yes, he's got City away, but he's so attacking, and defensively City haven't looked that great over the last few weeks, so I just wouldn't want him on my bench. I like to start him, and not expecting too much from him, but that's normally when he would pop up with an assist or a goal. And then Digne is my fourth defender. Bournemouth at home, expecting a nice points haul from him. This could be a clean sheet. Bournemouth have been attacking recently, all season, have been doing well attacking wise. But Everton haven't kept a clean sheet in a while, so I'm hoping that may turn around and they get a clean sheet. But he's always good for attacking points. And as you might have noticed, I've slightly switched my formation. I was rocking a 5 at the back for quite a few weeks there, and it was doing me pretty good. But just felt that there was enough good players and players performing in the midfield and striker roles that I kind of wanted to shift funds around a little bit and change to a 4-4-2. So my 4 in midfield, Felipe Anderson, again West Ham Arsenal at home. Arsenal haven't been great defensively. I fancy him to do well in that match. Richarlison, again, Everton, Bournemouth home, hasn't got me too many points recently. Expect him to possibly get a brace, or I fancy him to... Bournemouth have been so awful defensively. Could be a hat-trick time for Richarlison there, but fingers crossed on that one. Hazard, Newcastle at home, obviously disappointed last week against Southampton. He's got the vice-captaincy. I just don't think I can trust him captaincy-wise, which is normally when he goes to scores a hat-trick. So I would have thought so many people captained him last week, won't captain him this week, may have even got rid of him this week, and this will be the week that he gets his hat-trick. But I can't trust on that. My captain currently is Salah away to Brighton. Brighton been fairly decent defensively, certainly at home, but Salah has just shown that he can score against anyone, especially away from home against outside of the top 6 teams. Does do well, normally pops up with a goal and assist. So hoping he can match any. If Hazard does well, he can match those points, and I'll get double points for having the captaincy on him. And then up top, Kane, Man United at home. Difficult fixture, of course, but Man United have been far from certain at the back. So I could see Kane doing well in this match, but I certainly wouldn't put the captaincy on him. And then my other striker was going to be Danny Ings for this period as my second kind of cheaper striker, but that plays. But of course he's picked up this injury, which has meant Camara will start. Don't really like starting a 4.4 million striker who's meant to be a bit of an enabler. But Fulham have got Burnley away. Not been great defensively, Burnley, although they may have turned a corner with recent results. Got a couple of clean sheets, so we'll see. It was that or start Bednarek from Southampton, who I brought in when I made those 3 transfers. Again, cheap 3.9 defender. Leicester away. Leicester is so unpredictable as well, so I'm not sure I'd rather just go with the striker and hope Camara starts and picks up some points. So that's a bit disappointing not having Ings in that starting lineup. In terms of transfers and captain's pick, as I mentioned, probably be Salah for the captain's armband this week, I would have thought. I thought about Hazard, but you just can't trust him. You just can't. So I'm happy to have him in the side going forward, but I think it'll be captaincy between Salah and Kane in the next 4 or 5 weeks. But certainly this game week, I think I'll be captaining Salah. In terms of transfers, my plan is to roll a transfer this week. Pretty happy with my team. The only one would be starting Camera up front. I'm just going to have to deal with that, I think. I've got 0.3 in the bank, so I haven't really got too many options to bring in any other strikers. Would have to make an additional transfer to maybe go up to somebody like Jimenez or Rashford, but with not the best games for those two in this game week, probably not worth it. So when I think there's not too many transfers to be made without taking hits, probably best in that game week to roll the transfer. What I can say is going forward, next week I'll have 2 free transfers, and I potentially may play a mini wild card and potentially look at bringing in Rashford, because Man United have got some decent games coming up, certainly at home after this away tricky Spurs fixture. So definitely going to need some United coverage, which would probably come from Rashford coming in for the injured Ings, in which case I'd have to downgrade somewhere else in my team. Now that could be Robson down to TAA. That's depending on price changes, that may go out of the window. in which case I'd make a third transfer and potentially bring in somebody like Punchin, who's just gone to Huddersfield. He's only 4.2, and he could replace KL in my team as a cheap enabler. That would give me an extra 0.2, which would just make that possible. So there's one plan. Or I could downgrade Alonso to probably, again, TAA and double up with the Liverpool defence, which has done me well previous game weeks. So that's a possible plan I'm looking at. In terms of United, I think Rashford's a good option. So is Pogba. But for now, I do want to keep in Anderson, Richarlison, certainly for the next few games. So Anderson, after this Arsenal home game, has got Bournemouth away, and then potentially I might look at moving him on for another player, potentially Lucas Moura at Spurs. Spurs have got good fixtures, and with Son away at the Asia Cup, Lucas Moura could get some points and some starts in that. Richarlison, hoping he does well in this game, because in the next few he's got Southampton away, then Huddersfield away, Wolves home, Watford away. Fancy him to do well in those matches. I just need to see something from him. So eventually he may go for Pogba in a few games' time, depending on whether I've got Rashford or not. But those are a few of the options I'm looking at. Potentially, as say, downgrading Robertson or Alonso. A lot of cash tied up with those two. But in terms of my major three premium assets, Salah, Hazard and Kane, I can see them staying in the team to the end of the season now. Pretty happy with that in terms of their fixtures, and I think they'll do well. They're all high point scorers in their individual positions, so they look to be my premium assets going forward. Of course, no City coverage at the moment, which is slightly worrying. I just have no idea who to pick. You're always going to get hit with rotation. I had Sterling, he did okay, not great, and if you've got 11 million odd player, you need him starting every single game. Like Hazard, he's never going to get rotated, he's also on penalties. So with Sterling, it's too many risks. Aguero, similar, game time managed, there's risks there. Sane looks a good option, he's that bit cheaper, so he's sort of 9.5, I think, 9.6. Gets into the Pogba range there, potentially, but though I would say Pogba's more assured of starts. Mendy is coming back soon, couple of weeks, so is that going to affect on Sane? Quite fancy Mendy. Had him a couple of times at the start of the season where he was doing well. He gives you attacking options, but also has the potential of clean sheets, which I do think will come back for City. They've had a bit of a dodgy Christmas period, but I think with that coming out of it with that win against Liverpool, give them some more confidence going forward. So I think the clean sheets will return, and he does bring attacking returns, and he may take the place of Sane in that sort of left wing back sort of attacking role. So he's one to look at for the moment. I can see me going without City for the next few weeks, which is slightly worrying, but I feel more confident of having Salah and Hazard and Kane than City players at the moment, just because I know they're definitely going to start and they will bring in points. So that's how my game week squad is set up for this game week and going forward. A quick preview of some other fixtures. Obviously, I've already talked to West Ham Arsenal. I think that could be pretty high scoring there. Not great defences. Liverpool, I think, will get the win, but it might be tighter than what we think. Burnley, Fulham, that'll be interesting to see how Burnley do if they have truly turned a corner this season. Cardiff, Huddersfield, that's a relegation scrap. Huddersfield need to win that game to stand any chance, but I think Cardiff will probably win that one. Palace at home to Watford, be interesting to see how Palace do defensively. I know a lot of people have Wan-Bissaka and they'll be starting him. Watford have been good attacking, so there's no means certainty to get a clean sheet from Palace there. It would be interesting to see the result from that one. Leicester at home to Southampton. Of course, if I do have a couple of benchings or if there's an injury comes up before the game week, I may be having Bednarak, defender, coming in. So I can see Leicester scoring there, but it will be interesting. Southampton did well against Chelsea the other week, got a clean sheet away at Stamford Bridge. It's no mean feat, so could be a clean sheet there. Could come off my bench, so that's one to look out for. The late game on Saturday is Chelsea at home to Newcastle. Looking for big things from Alonso and Hazard. We'll see. Could be a Hazard hat-trick incoming. Who knows with him? But I guess I'd rather just have him in my team and just pick up those big hauls every now and again. I won't be captaining him, but sometimes I'd rather him than Sterling. Put it that way. And then the Sunday games, Everton at home to Bournemouth. Again, be interesting to see Digne and Richarlison. Certainly Richarlison on thin ice definitely needs to do something in this game. Spurs at home to United. That was just going to be a good one to watch. With no United assets, I'm hoping Spurs do well. Certainly Kane. But I could see both teams scoring in that match. And then the Monday night game, Man City at home to Wolves. I'll have Doherty in that match. Might be watching that slightly behind the sofa, having no City players. But City haven't been great defensively. Wolves have done so well against the top 6 teams, certainly away from home as well, beating Spurs, beat Chelsea at home. So drew with City in the reverse fixture of this match. So it'll be interesting to see that one on Monday night. So I think that's where I'm going to land the show. Remember that Game Week 22 deadline is Saturday at 11:30. Remember to, if you want to join the half-season community league, join that before the game week to get involved. And all details for the league code and for my Just Giving charity page raising money for Cancer Research UK. That'll all be in the podcast description and also on my Twitter feed, which of course I will be tweeting FPL Gold from that Twitter account at Captain's Pick Pod. Feel free to send in any questions or topics you'd like to discuss on the show. I'll also be tweeting out a picture of that top 10 in the half-season community league on the Twitter account today as well, so look out for that. So thanks for listening to this in-flight podcast. I have been your captain. Good luck with Game Week 22, and until next time, it's been my pleasure to talk with you.
Captain's Pick, the FPL Podcast.